Hey there, Advanced Math. Want to work today back on the packing strategy and say, well, what if the cubes I use to pack a prism are smaller than 1 cubic unit? All right. What if the cubes I use to pack a prism are smaller than 1 cubic unit? So go ahead and pause the video and write this as your next title. And after you have done so, mark the page with a pencil, close it up, and think with me. So real quick, just to remind you, our 2 volume strategies so far. The first one's been packing. So if I say this is maybe a 6 by 2 by 3 prism, I would pack, this with 6 cubes across, 3 cubes up, 1, 2, 3, and 2 cubes back. And they would kind of look like this. I don't have the easiest time drawing these, but if you just kind of imagine it's not a good drawing. You know how this works. I'm going to fill this up with cubic, what do we say, inches, let's say. So here's my base. That would go up to there. That would go up a little higher to there. Finish it out. That looks pretty good. Not a bad cube, right? And I would pack it up with those. And that got a little cumbersome. If you think I would have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 across here, and then since this is 2, there'd be 12 along the bottom. And then there'd be like 12 on the bottom, 12 in the middle, 12 in the top. And so since that got a little bit cumbersome to do, we had that formula, the volume is the big base times the height, the area of the base. So the base was 6 by 2. So that was 12 times the height was 3, and that gave us 36, 1-inch cubes would pack it. And that's how we did that. And we always did it if this was inches, we did cubic inches. If this was centimeters, we did cubic centimeters. And so today I want to talk about packing a cube with smaller blocks. So I want to take this 1-inch unit cube. So that means it's 1 inch in every direction. And think to myself, well, how many half-inch cubes would it take to fill this 1-inch unit cube? So this is already a unit cube. Like this is the one I would use to pack stuff. This is a cubic inch. And the reason I want to do this question is it seems really easy. You read it and you're like, well, if that's a 1-inch cube, half an inch, that means there would be 2 cubes would fit in it. If it's 1-inch cube, then it should be 2 half-inch cubes, right? Seems logical. And so that's why I wanted to do this, because that actually is not right. And it's very easy to make that jump right to a wrong answer. And so I wanted to kind of show you how this works on an easy one, and then show you how it works on a harder one. So let's pack it with half-inch cubes. So what I would do, let's imagine, so now my cubes are going to be, instead of a full inch by a full inch by a full inch in every direction, they're going to be a half inch in every direction. So it's going to be like I take kind of all my sides and cut them into half inches. Half, 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 half. Did I get them all? I think I did. So now what I'm doing is I'm making cubes that instead of being a full inch in every direction are a half inch in every direction. So like the front, I do better when I start on the bottoms, don't I? Start with my base. So this one would go halfway back, halfway across, halfway down, halfway across. So there would be my base. And then it would go up to here, about halfway, back, halfway, up, and I'd end up with cubes where all my dimensions were a half. And as you'll, just looking at this is 1 1/2 inch cube, right? A half by a half by a half. And that does not nearly fill it halfway up. So way more than 2 1/2 inch cubes are going to be needed. One would fit there. Another one would fit next to it. Another one would fit behind it. And another one would fit here. So I could fit 4 on the bottom. I can draw their bases more easily than I can draw the whole things. So if you imagine me making the cube, it's going to get too sloppy if I try to draw the whole thing. Because I could fit 4 of them on the bottom, and then we're going to be halfway up. Here's their tops would be up here halfway. And then I could fit a whole other layer up on top of those. So there's 4 down here on the bottom, and then there'd be another 4 on top of those. So actually 8 1/2 inch cubes would fill it. Not 2. And so that's what I wanted to show you. So these can be kind of really tough to imagine. The next one's going to be a lot tougher to imagine. I don't necessarily need you to be perfect at this, at drawing it or anything like that. But I do need you to be good at sort of imagining how it would work so that you don't make this super easy mistake right here. So let's look at a harder one. I may have made it too hard. Let's see how we can do. All right. So let's just stick with halves today. Let's not do thirds. We'll get to that another day. Now that I'm seeing this, that seems pretty tough. So let's say how many 1/2 inch cubes would fill this figure right here. All right. So it is 2 by 3 by 5 tall. And so you can find quickly its regular volume in whole inch cubes. It'd be 3 by 2 is 6. 6 times 5 is 30. So it would hold 30 1-inch cubes. How many 1/2 inch cubes would it hold? And again, my instinct would be to say, well, if it holds 30 1-inch cubes, then it's going to hold 60 1/2 inch cubes. And it's not. It's going to be a lot more than that. So again, so you have to think to how this would look, which can be hard to do in your mind. So if I made, if this is 3 whole ones and 2 whole ones this way, these are my whole units along the bottom, 3 by 2, then my 1/2 inches are going to be a lot smaller than that. So I have to do 1/2, 1/2, 1/2, 1/2, 1/2. And so now, if you want to think about how making this in 1/2 units, instead of fitting 3 cubes along the bottom and 2 cubes back on the red marks, I'm going to fit twice as many along the bottom and twice as many back because they're only half as long. Like I'm going to be able to fit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 along the bottom, and all back to here. So 6 are going to fit there, and a second row, and then going, oh no, there's going to be more than that. Let me undo that. So what's going to essentially happen is with 1/2 inch cubes, all my dimensions are going to double. Since I'm no longer thinking in wholes, I'm going to fit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'm thinking about this is like 6 1/2 units. And then going back, instead of just 1, 2, it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. And then going up, instead of just having 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now they're going to be half, so twice as many are going to fit. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 now. So instead of doubling your whole thing to get an answer, you double every dimension, because now I'm going to have twice as many here, twice as many here, and twice as many here. So instead of doing whole units, 3 by 2 by 5, I'm going to have 6 times 4 times 10. So my volume in partial units is going to be 6 units by 4 units by 10 units, which is 24 by 10, which is 240 1/2 inch units. Whew! So it's going to hold way more than double. So I don't double my volume, I double every dimension before I multiply. All right? let's do a couple in your notes. Running out of time here, so I may have to pause to show you. So I want to start with this 1/2 inch cube. And I'm going to let you draw it. So you saw me draw this last time, right? If this is 1 inch in every direction, I already did this one for you. Then I want you to show how many 1/2 inch cubes within it. So you're going to cut every dimension in half. And do your best to draw your cubes in. It's pretty hard to do. I'm not going to lie to you. I have a hard time with this. So don't worry about it being perfect. But what I want you to mostly show yourself in your drawing is that when I go into 1 inch half cubes, it is not 2. That's really what I want you to come away with, is it takes more thinking than just saying 2. So I'm going to pause and try to fill it in, and you do the same, and you can kind of draw it in after me. All right, so I drew in 1/2 inch figure. And what I feel like I can see here from my 1 drawing is that I can fit 4 1/2 inch cubes on the bottom. And then I would be able to fit 4 more on top. So if I can draw it, if it's small enough to draw, I can say I would hold 8 1/2 inch cubes. Not 2. That's the biggie. All right, let's do one more together. I'm going to have to go kind of fast, so bear with me here. So let's do this one. So now I'm going to go with my formula for you instead of... I'm going to show you how this works with the formula, because you would never want to have to draw all the cubes in this. There'd be so many. There's going to be a whole bunch of 1/2 inch cubes in here. So what I have to imagine doing is saying, all right, if originally this would be 4 units long and 3 units tall and 5 units back, like that in red, then if I'm going to do it in halves, 1/2 inch cubes, I'm going to double all of these. It's going to end up being, once I make half units here, it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of those. 8, like 1/2 meters is my unit. And then this is going to be 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I make 10 1/2 meters here. And up, my 3 whole meters turns into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 1/2 meters here. So instead of just saying, well, the original volume would be 4 times 5 is 20 times 3 is 60 cubic meters, saying, well, then, sorry about that, jumped over to another thing, saying, oh, well, then obviously if that was 60, now it's 120 because I'm using half units, and that is not right. Because what happens when I do my volume formula with the half units, I don't double the answer, I double every dimension. So now I'm doing volume equals 6 by 8 by 10, which is 48 by 10, which is 480, 1/2 inch cubes. All right, so it's way more than that. So I guess what I kind of want you to say after you show this and your work on here is you don't double the volume, you double every dimension. And so it's really easy to say it's going to be 120, but it's way more. It's all the way up to 480 pieces. So I don't want you to make that mistake of assuming it just takes twice as many, okay? So sometimes it's too cumbersome to draw, so I just do it kind of like that and imagine how many it would take in those units. All right, I'm out of time, so I got to let you go. This was pretty tough. If you need to go back and watch any of these 4 examples again, please do. Otherwise, see you tomorrow.